2,
The
1.
thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers in the headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Right ahead tonight, 3 water and sewerage workers mowed down during a hit-and-run incident in Exuma last night. We have the latest on their conditions. Prime Minister Davis gives more information on the biometrics being proposed to modernize voters' cards and legal migration needed to help the workforce in the construction industry. Well, it's nothing new. We've talked about this quite a few times. It's very necessary, in fact, for many contractors. However, Prime Minister Davis issues a warning. We'll tell you about that. It's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's good to have you along this evening. A 19-year-old man is being questioned by police in Exuma after presenting himself as the driver of a vehicle that crashed into 3 water and sewerage workers on the island of Exuma last night. All 3 men had to be airlifted here to the capital. To get an idea of their injuries and how the men are doing at this hour is Public Affairs Manager at the Water and Sewerage Corporation, Nicolette Eldon. Good evening to you, Nicolette. It's good to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to come on this evening to talk about something that while we hear of accidents in the Family Islands, we don't hear about hit and runs, and this one resulted in 3 of your employees being injured and having to be airlifted.
Yes, Shanique. Thank you for having me this evening. It's good to be here, and it's good to provide an update on what happened last evening. It's unfortunate. As you said, we don't hear about these things happening in the Family Island. So to provide an update, there were more than 3 men actually, but I wanted to clarify that it's water and sewerage and our contractor, Rowdy Boys Construction. So there were members of our team,
yes,
as well as Rowdy Boys Construction.
And we know they hail from Long Island.
Long Island and Exuma, yes.
So you were saying this was a major accident,
yes,
involving 1 vehicle.
Correct. So what happened, we were tying in the fish fry in Exuma. So we were tying in the water main lines, and we had proper visibility, proper lighting, proper signage, proper cones. The men were out there conducting, you know, how we do the...
So they had business as usual setup. We
Correct.
know when there is water, any sort of work going on by the roadside, they sort of have the cones so that it's visible.
Correct.
At a distance too, so
Yes.
that you know there's
To
work
slow
ahead.
down,
Yeah,
there's
to slow
work
down
ahead.
because there's work ahead.
Yeah, so we were tying in those water mains last night, and this gentleman just drove through. Like you said, mowed through these workers. So there were 3 who were critically injured and had to be airlifted. But as you can imagine, our team is shaken up by this.
Yeah, how is Exuma team doing tonight?
So they're not well. Obviously, they're shaken up by this. But when I spoke to our area manager, Miss Karen Roll, she hadn't slept yet for the day. When I talked to her around midday, she said, I'm still going, still working. And I just want to pause and be grateful for the work that our team does on a continuous basis. But
And
Ms.
what time?
Roll,
And this was quite late into the
this
evening,
was
right?
around 10 o'clock
Around
last
10
night.
o'clock. Man just working, trying to get through the projects and trying to obviously bring greater water supply to the fish fry there at Exuma.
Correct. So we're in the process of our major water improvement project, and we're wrapping up that project in Exuma. So we're beginning to tie in residents and businesses alike, and they're just doing what they're supposed to do to improve the lives of the residents in that community. And for them to experience this and have to deal with this is just unfortunate. So I just want to thank the team, the men that helped and stayed at the clinic with these injured men until help came, until the police were on the scene, until the aircraft took off from Exuma. I just want to say, that we're grateful for everything that you do that you do every day. I also want to pause, and we're so grateful for the work that many may not know that we do have a nurse on staff, Nurse Elichime Roberts, an amazing woman, an unsung hero. And I just want to pause to say, you know, she's busy coordinating because this is being treated as an industrial accident. So she's coordinating the paperwork and ensuring that everything is completed. As you can appreciate, we can only get updates through the family because we're not relatives. And she's behind that, checking in with not only our teams, but checking in with Mr. Knowles at Rowdy Boys to get the updates from him.
Good.
To ensure that we
So
stay
they
in
sustained
contact.
minor injuries, the Rowdy Boys crew.
No. They have been seriously injured by this.
We'll talk about the gentleman, I use that term very loosely, the 19-year-old that turned himself in. But what is the state of those men airlifted tonight?
Tonight, one remains in theater. The last update I received, he remains in theater with several fractures in his leg, head injuries he sustained, and two of the other men, we are still awaiting an update. I don't want to get into great detail with their condition, but it's serious. And our hearts and prayers go out to them and their families.
You know, this is vexing. We know, according to news that came into the newsroom from the police, that a 19-year-old turned himself in and said, listen, he was behind the wheel, he's responsible for this incident. I mean, but it didn't have to happen.
It didn't.
We know when there are roadworks because it's clearly marked. And these men sometimes work overnight to get jobs done. And I guess they have to too because of the scorching heat. So they're trying to get this work done to cause Exuma to have better running water supply, and a business area as well. And there's this person who's going to decide that somehow he's going to just enjoy driving in Exuma at any
on
speed.
those nicely paved roads.
The roads
they're
newly
very
paved.
nice.
But you can't be an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. The
You
thing
can't
is,
be
we
reckless.
really need idiot is a better word, from the police of Exuma, what is happening, what are the charges this person is facing, and also truly what happened? Did he lose control of the vehicle? Was he impaired? I mean, what exactly happened? You cannot. And these are men who are trying to, one, make a contribution to public infrastructure, but also work for their families.
Correct.
They are now laid up.
These are
and
fathers.
we hope they make a
These are
full
sons.
recovery.
Absolutely. Shanique, I can give you several examples. I don't just sit behind a desk and wait for updates to come to me. I like to be out in the field. And what I've experienced is how impatient we are as a people. I know that when we are working, it's an inconvenience to go through the detour. I'll give you one example of what I witnessed personally. We were doing some work, I won't say where, but this driver had violated and come through the detour, and a gentleman was in the trench. So her car was here, he's in the trench, and he jumped out. And she said, I'm just going right there, right? And he said, ma'am, the weight of your car can cause this trench to collapse, and I can lose my life. And it was just for her. I just need to get right there. But I wonder if you just got
impatient.
Correct.
Yeah.
It would have taken maybe 10 more minutes to go around. Granted, I understood her argument. She was going right there. But how would she have felt had this young man lost his life? And those are the things that we have to consider. Sometimes we take things for granted. Oh, water and sewage digging up the road again. They're doing work. Why they have to do that? It's an inconvenience in this moment for long-term solutions and benefits. And that's the message that I want to make very clear to motorists. Be patient, acknowledge the work that these men are doing, but also just be very cautious.
No,
That's all. Be considerate.
It's a worthy message, one that we all can take on and use and be mindful of. But certainly people who tend to want to speed, maybe not even paying attention when they're driving, and this incident could have been avoided because these men were actually working. I mean, we hope for the best. We really, really hope that there's a full recovery of all the injured, especially those who are more serious, one of whom is in surgery at this hour as we speak. I'll give you an opportunity for a final comment if you would like to, and we would like to please be kept updated with how this progresses.
So my final comment, again, is to reiterate the importance of road safety and also acknowledging the work that our teams do day in and day out to ensure that we have clean and safe water. Their work matters. So I'm just asking, be patient when there's work in progress, and let's continue to keep them and their families in our prayers.
They certainly are in our thoughts and prayers, I'll tell you that. And again, we hope they all make a full recovery. And we hope that the laws that govern the rules to the road, that they are enforced. They're absolutely enforced in this incident. And we all should be mindful as well to be just more cautious drivers. Because many times, many of us could be guilty of being impatient, being angry. The light just turned green, and people
want to blow.
Listen to me. I'd be like, "What's going on with y'all?" It's just a whole lot going on.
Yes.
But again, a very scary scenario happening in Exuma overnight around after 10. You heard Nicolette said a group of men. I mean, so this was a huge group working.
Excavator on site.
What was on site?
An excavator. Shanique. Yes.
Understand
trencher.
Where was he going?
Only God one knows where he was going. But
To not see that and understand that you at least have to drive cautiously and slow down.
Yes. So I said this could have been very unfortunate. It could have been a different outcome.
It could have been a different outcome.
But we are thankful for the life. We're very thankful for life tonight, and we continue to uplift those men in prayer.
Oh, please, we must. I mean, the nation come together and pray for those men, and they are very quick and full recovery. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nicolette.
Thank you for having me, Shanique.
Coming this evening and giving us an update on that. And again, you are welcome to come or keep us informed, and we keep the audience informed. But thank you very much, Nicolette Eldon, the Public Affairs Manager at the Water and Sewerage Corporation. Thank you once again. Beyond the Headlines is back after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains, or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Shop early to get your uniforms and catch Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4 get 1 free sale. Pre-monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories and character work desk. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back to school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back to school special. Restrictions apply.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, the Royal Bahamas Police Force 2025 mid-year report shows that suicides are on the rise compared to previous years. We know that. In the majority, men of varying ages are attempting to or carrying out suicides. It's an issue that I've looked at before on the show, and tonight we give a different look at what's troubling men and the overall state of the family in the Bahamas. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Pastors Patrice Smith and Pastor Carol Moss. Pastors, good evening to both of you. People always like to hear your points of view. I've spoken mainly in recent time to a lot of men on these issues, particularly as it relates to men harming, self-harming, and unfortunately even carrying out the act. But I want to hear from you. You both are mothers and leaders, and you speak from a different perspective. And so welcome to the show. It's good to have you both here. And let's jump right in and talk about how this issue, number one, has caught your attention and how concerning it is for you.
Well, good evening, Bahamas. Good evening, Shanique. So good to be here once again. And of course, this is troubling for me, most certainly, because we realize that the male species is becoming almost extinct, if I could use that term very loosely. We realize not just in the Bahamas, really, Shanique, but all around the world, men are becoming more and more separated from society. Again, if I can use that term loosely. I think what is happening is that we must go back now to the original family. We must go back now to what it means to be a family. And that, of course, is from the very beginning, as we know in the book of Genesis, the original family, of course, is the man, the woman, and then, of course, children. And so whenever we tamper with something that is original, something that is a precedent and that is a principle, there's always going to be a problem. And so we see now that men are feeling disenfranchised even in their own homes. And I'm going to say something, Shanique, and I'm really going to say it, and probably some women may disagree with me, but I'm going to say it as a Bahamian woman. A lot of times, Bahamian women do not give men space to grow. And in particular, in the home. Now, of course, I'm not covering up, putting a blanket to say that this is a general statement. But I'm saying a lot of times, and I guess because it is, because way back then we had some of our men going off to the contract and working. So women had to become both the man and the woman in the home. And what has happened is that when those men came back, the woman who had to assume both roles now did not know how to step back and become the woman again in the home. And so a lot of times, I'll be very honest with you, a lot of these homes are ruled by Jezebel women. The men are in the homes, but they're really not present. And I'm speaking from the perspective of the church and the world.
Bahamian, because I imagine Bahamian women are a handful.
Yes, of course.
Bahamian
women difficult to deal with sometimes.
Listen, we know that as just women to women, right?
Yes.
How are they showing up in the home that has become quite something that has cornered men to make men, or even in relationships that have made men respond this way, to feel hopeless and as though disenfranchised, as you said?
The most important thing, Shanique, is that a man must feel like a man in the home. Now, he may not be the main provider because, of course, we know in a lot of cases, women tend to make a little more than men. Even on par, it tends to be that women make a little bit more. And so, therefore, even though he may not be the main provider, he is still the man in the home and should be respected as the man. I think what happens is that we get it twisted because we believe if I'm bringing in most of the money, then I should have the say. And that's not the way it is. That's not the way it should be. And so therefore, in the home, we must understand our roles. We must understand, yes, that the man is the provider, but we must also understand that the man is the head of the home. And then so when men feel cornered, when men feel emasculated, and we have a lot of that in this Bahamian society, whether the church or the country, when men feel emasculated, when men feel that they are not a part of the whole, when men feel that they are disrespected, in particular in the front of their children, you're going to have a lot of outbursts, you're going to have a lot of dysfunctionality. So I'm not blaming totally Bahamian women, but I'm trying to show you a whole picture to say that some of the problems that men are facing, believe it or not, is because of their female counterparts really in the home and in relationships.
Pastor Carol, you can jump right in because that's a lot to chew on because we see what's going on. Yeah. This isn't just talking just to have a segment to talk about. We see that. I just saw in the papers today, a father said he didn't see it coming of his son who committed suicide. My God. But what we are seeing is increased attempts. And unfortunately, I think they call it complete acts. Right. And so the thing is, and mainly men, it is just quite disturbing what's happening, Pastor Carol.
Yes. Shanique, I'm glad to be here, Shanique. I think there's a lot of dysfunction in the homes. There's a lot of secrets that are not being told. And a lot of dysfunction as far as molestation. And so we're dealing with a lot of mental illnesses. Because the 51-year-old said, I guess it's alleged that they're in court now because the 60-year-old at the time said that he was raped. And because he was in a very dysfunctional home, he moved with this gentleman that raped him. And so we're dealing with a lot of mental illness. And so before we judge and we say certain things, these young men are being raped, they're being molested, their uncles are raping them, their grandfathers. They have a lot of sissies and a lot of homosexuals. Okay. A lot of homosexuals are in these homes. And so we need to not target these young men. These young men are at risk. They're at risk because they're being raped. They're being molested. And so now they're dealing with mental illness.
Their emotions,
and so there's no one to talk to. And so if you talk to, you're supposed to be a man. And so when you're supposed to be a man, I'm hiding, but I'm hiding secrets. So when I lash out, either I kill you or I kill myself. And that's what's happening. And so now we have to move in and help these young men because the man said, no, it was consensual sex, alleged. No. You raped that boy. Oh, my God. You raped that boy. And so many young men, and so they put on this masculinity, and they play rough, and then they start to forget that. They start going in gangs, and they start being promiscuous. This is what's happening. And so now you got a toughen up boy. So you're wondering why the little boy started shaped like a woman. Why? Because he being raped, he being molested. And so the mommy know, the auntie know, the uncles know, and they're keeping the family secrets. And so there's no one for these young men to talk to. And that's the crisis now we're dealing with, and that's why the little boys coming with the little hips looking like a woman. Because now the men are grooming these young boys, and some of them are young, and they are masculine, and they're gang related, but they're being tampered with. And that's sad. And so mental illness, and then some of them are catching diseases. They're catching HIV and AIDS. They're having problems because of the home is very dysfunctional. Their mothers are dysfunctional.
So that part. What you said, though, in one of the discussions I had with an all-male panel, just about this issue with men, what's happening, let's get to the bottom of it and find out why men in increasing numbers are harming themselves. This is just what one of the men said, that a lot of the men sometimes are trying to run away from experiences or the fact that, listen, a man came onto them. Just so many different things that they're trying to run away from or forget. and therefore, if they're not strong enough, then they kind of turn in on themselves.
Yeah. And they open their mind to this battle. And then the demons come in and they battle in and they battle. And the only way to end this battle is to end my life. And so now we have to try to reach out to these young men, partnering with, like I said, the church and different entities to make sure we fight for these young men, that they find a safe haven for someone to talk to them and not talk about them.
Well, that's very true. And so let's look at the overall state of the family then. You both touch on different things that are that are poignant to this discussion. One was the fact that, listen, the family, that nuclear family where a woman and a man come together and it's supposed to be what it's supposed to be is no longer that. It's become something else. So it's ugly and it's disrespectful and it's demeaning and all the rest of it. And then you mentioned the fact that, listen, many of these, whether they be teenage boys, preteens, whether they be men, are angry and hurting or depressed or whatever it is because of whatever the experience is, whether it's a woman and the stress and the family stress and expectations, or the fact that they have been hurt.
Right. Shanique, hurting people hurt people. We have to go to the root of all of this. A boy has to be raised and reared by a male, a man. It's no use we say we want to deal just with the young men. Because if that young man has to go back into society where men are dysfunctional, then of course it makes no sense dealing with, it's almost like you're dealing with the fruit and not dealing with the root. So we have to start with our men. We have to start with going back to the foundation of causing men to move from that cycle of dysfunctionality to what it means to really be a man. And so what has to happen now is that we have to go back. We usually use the term the big brother, big sister movement. No, I'm going to use the term man to man or men helping men, because if a man is in a home and he is dysfunctional, the only thing can happen is that he will produce dysfunctional boys. And so what will happen is that that boy who knows, because we are innately created to know what we should have, what we should experience, what should be our reality. And so therefore, if we are not experiencing that in the home, we're going to go out to experience it someplace else. So they're going to go into the gangs. They're going to go into homosexual relationships. Why? Because they're looking for love. They're looking to be accepted. And sadly so, they're going to look even in the church. And sadly so, even in the church, they are finding homosexual experiences. So we now have to get back to teaching men how to be men. And let those men teach boys how to be boys, because a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a boy nor a man. So we need to get men back to the state of functionality. We need to, I always use the term, we got to get back to Eden. We got to get back to where men are respected in the home. They are revered in the home. But at the same time, we have to get men to know that you are the head, you are the provider, you are the leader, not the woman. Because a lot of times, men abdicate, I'm going to use that word, abdicate their responsibility to the woman in the house.
They do.
For whatever reason they may, or problems.
You brought that up, because I wanted to say, there are some women watching, and say, Mom, hi, Pastor, 1 minute.
Yes.
She's tired of the heavy lifting.
Yes.
She's tired of showing up as woman and man, or mother and father in that household.
Right.
When will men step up? Because while women are trying to meet you halfway, and women are trying to say, okay, let's give you this respect and this time to heal your emotions and your broken emotions, when are you going to step up and be some meaningful person or partner in the household?
Absolutely. And it is totally necessary. I was counseling a couple the other day, and the gentleman said to me, he said, well, Pastor, what do you want me to do? I'm working, and this is what I'm making, and this is all I can contribute. And so I said, just using an example, and I said, okay, the bills per month is $2,000. You're contributing $500. So that means she has to contribute $1,500. Are you thinking, do you have compassion as to say, now, isn't this too much on my wife? Because this is a husband and wife situation. Isn't this too much on my wife? So the responsibility then, Shanique, for that man is, because remember, he's the provider. So you don't just sit in the house and say, I can only contribute $500. You find other ways to bring in the additional. So if it means that you have to get a second job, you go ahead and do it. You are the male and the foundation of the family.
And that is not the woman being disrespectful. disrespectful or stressing you out.
Right.
She's hoping you would come together and build something.
Absolutely.
Again, we are talking about, Pastor Carol.
Yeah.
We are talking about helping men, yes, through whatever the emotional difficulties and turmoils they may be faced with, but also to step up in their rightful roles.
Absolutely.
Right. I want to take a different spin because I believe LeBron James, who is a famous basketball player, was groomed and grew up by a woman, his mother, and a few of them was grown up by their mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That's
think
not the norm, though.
Okay, but
Yeah,
a lot of them were.
That's not the ideal either.
I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of so we have to deal with the matters at hand. I know what we want. One thing I think we need to do, Shanique, is change the mind of these people who are in these homes. One, these women are in and out of the homes with these different men.
Oh, Jesus.
So all the boys see is these different men. And a lot of these men have a little alternative lifestyle. So that's how come they tamper with these boys. So the first thing we need to do is change the mind of these women and change the mind of the men from being on the block, from also having multiple women and also having multiple partners. Whether they were the woman today, they were the man tomorrow. 1 minute they is woman, 1 minute they is man. We have to move in and to help the mind of these people to make sure to move the dysfunction out of the homes. That's the main focus right now. Because if a woman can assist and find good mentorship to help raise up these sons. That's what I believe.
Ladies, I thank you both. They always come loaded. I know that. And I would love to obviously continue this because we've got to find solutions.
Yes.
And come together and join hands to help move this forward because, again, there are too many men. The statistics prove it. They don't even have to because we see the headlines almost daily. But too many men who are self-harming and unfortunately in many instances now taking their lives.
Yeah.
And so how do we address that? And so I would love to hear more, perhaps even have another show with the men and the women.
Yes.
So
Good
that
idea.
we can hear each other.
Right.
And so thank you, pastors, very, very much.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for being here and discussing
to be
such a
here.
very sensitive and very, very urgent issue. This is Beyond the Headlines. When we come back, we're going to shift gears and look at some news from the political arena. It's all coming up right after the break. Stay close.
Pain hits fast, so get relief fast. Only Tylenol Rapid Release Gels have laser-drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. And now, get Max Strength Topical Pain Relief precisely where you need it with Tylenol Precise.
I can clean your teeth, but I can't wash your whole mouth.
Yes, we're toothbrushes, not mouth brushes.
Listerine works with brushing to deliver 5 times more cleaning power, plus it contains clinically proven essential oils.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when you're
Introducing Hands for Hunger's The Budget Gourmet, the sizzling new cooking show where 5-star flavor meets everyday ingredients. From pantry staples to farmers markets finds, join Chef Mo as we turn local, low-cost ingredients into gourmet magic, one dish at a time. Want your brand on the table? We're now inviting sponsors to be a part of this delicious journey. Get in early and let your name shine where flavor meets finesse. The Budget Gourmet. Everyday ingredients with a gourmet twist.
The Budget Gourmet.
We're making it sweet, low cost meals you can't defeat. Tastes so good, it makes you move. Hands for Hunger is in the group.
The Budget Gourmet.
I was an electrician for 18 years. And one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we're looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Pain hits fast, so get relief fast. Only Tylenol Rapid Release Gels have laser-drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. And now, get Max Strength Topical Pain Relief precisely where you need it with Tylenol Precise.
I can clean your teeth, but I can't wash your whole mouth.
Yes, we're toothbrushes, not mouth brushes.
Listerine works with brushing to deliver 5 times more cleaning power, plus it contains clinically proven essential oils.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. The Progressive Liberal Party hosting another rally-style mass meeting. You all saw it last evening. This, of course, in an area staunch party supporters say they are all too familiar with, and that it takes them down memory lane. That is the area called the Wolf Road area, the Windsor Park. Yes. I think that's it. Yes, it is. But I'll tell you, Prime Minister Davis took the time to address serious matters, though, serious matters as it relates to the upcoming election, and certainly something that the Parliamentary Registrar Office, General's Office, intends on doing just to modernize the voting process. Here's Jose Etienne with the story, and then we come back and talk about it.
A buzz of exhilaration filling the air on Monday night as hundreds of Progressive Liberal Party supporters gathered at Windsor Park, the party's proverbial battleground. It was the second massive rally of its kind, uniting 4 over-the-hill constituencies in central New Providence, and the message to residents was clear: prepare for political battle.
This election is not about the opposition, it's about the direction.
Prime Minister Philip Davis also using the platform to defend the controversial introduction of biometric voter cards, dismissing criticism from the Free National Movement.
All we have done is move forward with what they couldn't finish, and now they're trying to scare people with it.
Davis also accused the FNM of political hypocrisy.
Back in 2020, it was the FNM who passed the law for biometric voting cards then. That's the law passed by them. We are just the government finally doing the job for them.
Calls to former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis for comment were unsuccessful, but official records show that the bill, which introduced biometric technology in voting and bail management, was in fact passed under his watch. Still, opposition voices are accusing government of rushing the implementation, a claim Davis vehemently rejects.
Don't let anyone lie to you. No one is taking away your right to vote. The PLP protects voting rights. We don't play games with democracy.
For the skeptical and the critical, Davis outlined plans for the system's rollout.
If you're registered to vote and you're on the register today and you're still registered, your name will not be removed off the register. No one is being erased. No one is being left out. And if you want your new card, one that fits in your wallet and doesn't need to be hidden under your mattress or in a Ziploc bag, go get your card.
The new cards are expected to be distributed in early 2026, but voters won't need them to cast their ballots in the next general election. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, the Chief Passport Officer, Nicholas Simonet, tonight also sharing exactly what biometrics are being used for in their system. His comments come amid public concern on the use of biometrics for voting, proposed by, of course, the Davis administration.
Biometrics speaks to the fingerprints that we collect, and we have the photograph, right? So if we were to develop our system further, the photographs could be used as a part of biometrics in terms of facial recognition. So those are the possibilities of biometrics. In terms of how we use it as a verification mechanism. We don't share our data. We just use it as an internal verification mechanism, connecting a unique identifier of the individual to that of the application and the document itself. So you come to the passport office, you apply for a passport, your fingerprints are captured. When you come to collect your passport, you put your fingerprints down, and that verifies that the person who enrolled, the person who the document belongs to, is one and the same of the person who's collecting the document. Our passport system is probably one of the newer databases or passport systems around the world. Most of the Caribbean, their passport software was developed, based on the model in which we have. We are consistently looking at upgrades and updates to the system, not only to safeguard the document itself, but also to safeguard the process and to ensure that the identities that are listed within are just consistent.
Well, you all heard this biometric idea for the voter's card continues to be discussed. Many people are wary of it, are saying any number of things about it and expressing various opinions, and a lot of which is misunderstood because the system is widely used in so many areas. You heard Nicholas Simonet a moment ago say it's being used in the passport. When you travel and you go through various levels to get to where you're sitting and waiting for your flight, of U.S., whether it's border control and all the other areas that you go through, you put your fingers and all the rest of it, biometric system. And so it's so much that we obviously don't know about this. But again, it's used to just upgrade what we know as, people see as an antiquated system of the paper vote and all the rest of it and all that. And of course, we'll see how that rolls out. But I'm going to bring in the Hot Topics panel right now to talk about that. And what are you hearing where you're at? What are people saying? Are they skittish about this idea? And what is it that you have been even researching on your own that you feel people ought to know? Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Peggy Candice and Ellington Ferguson. Good evening to both of you and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here.
Always.
Yes, it's good to have you both here. Let's just jump in and talk about this biometric system that really we didn't think would have become this hot button issue, but it has.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good evening, Bahamas. I think, unfortunately, there was an attempt to mislead the public. I think the word biometric was presented as something new and something foreign, and in some case, 666, the devil. And it was very irresponsible because if you said fingerprinting and eye scanning, face recognition, and this is what you do every time you go Miami to shop or Fort Lauderdale or Disney World, and you have to pass customs, U.S. custom immigration, you scan your fingers. I think that is why it's important for the government to have the proper messaging to get ahead of the trapsiness that is so common now when it comes to anything related. People take an opportunity, opposing parties, opposing sides take the opportunity to muddy the water. And I find it very irritating and irresponsible because we want to educate our people. We don't want to use ignorance against them for our political benefit. And that's what I felt was done several nights ago when I saw a flyer being shared by F&M Sheriffs. Now, I don't know who created the flyer, but the first time I saw it, it popped up on my timeline on Facebook by the aspiring candidate for Nassau Village. And she had it on her page. And I looked at it, I said, this is foolishness.
What was the flyer?
The flyer was saying, like, warning, the PLP trying to steal the election, beware of voters fraud. I mean, the most nonsense any responsible professional female could put out who want to be a part of governing this country. And my question was, did you research this? We cannot feed fair in this country to try and get political points. It is wrong. It is dangerous. And then the most astonishing thing is to wake up, because I did research and I was trying to push it as quickly as up to midnight. I was still posting about it. To wake up the following morning and to read in the newspaper that the Free National Movement, previous administration, 2020, tabled the same bill in the House of Assembly while they were the governing party. And how hypocritical. You cannot feed fair for political benefit. You cannot
or play on people's lack of knowledge.
Yes, for political benefit.
Gain. You cannot. It's really it's unfair, and you are not doing a great service. You're not serving the very people that you hope to serve.
To lead. This is the country that you say you want to lead. This is the people that you want to be government over and take them in a progressive direction in this country. Firstly, you don't own the fact that you put this out there in Parliament, and now you're making it out to be a bad idea. What if you were to become the government? Then you're going to push it again. Stop playing with Bahamians. Stop it. It is not helpful. It is not proper. And I want you people to pay attention to what is being done to control your emotions. Playing with you. Give the people the correct information, please. It is for the progression of this nation. And that must become more important than your political position or inferiority complexities when it comes to politics in this country.
What is good about this, Shanique, is that this, I can almost say that it is to some degree partisan. This is something that previous administration has sought to implement. As you know, there was the election, and the other administration was, they lost the election. This administration saw the wisdom to continue with this and to fully implement it. Unfortunately, though, we yet still have, like Peggy alluded to, those that would use these things, and it almost rendezvous to when we were trying to give women the rights to pass on their citizenship to their spouses, just as a Bahamian man can. We were trying to give that same right to women, and people did basically the same thing. They talk about, all kind of foreigners and this and the next thing, and it's only trying to give women equal rights, which now we're still trying to put those things in place. It's unfortunate when people who are vying for public office prey on, number one, the ignorance and the emotions of our people and lie to our people, try in order to get political mileage. We can't be doing that in the 21st century. Our politics need to mature. Okay, yes. We need to speak to issues, deal with issues properly. If something comes and it's good, then that's good for all of us. I think this is a good move. We've been dealing with this paper where people spending all kind of time writing on these papers for too long. And this is a good advancement that both the Free National Movement and the Progressive Liberal Party has now brought into effect.
All fit to introduce.
Absolutely.
Just to move the voting process and take it into the 21st century.
Absolutely.
Right? Meanwhile, Peggy and Ellington, immigration issues continue to stir. Of course, we know it's caused great debate in the country, where last evening also Prime Minister Davis admitting that the country is grappling with a shortage of Bahamian workers in the construction industry. We know that, and we know what the issues are there. My God, we've discussed it at length. This challenge, Davis says, is a direct result of a lack of skilled local workers to meet the rising demand, and we've seen how construction is changing and the demands for construction is changing, and all these projects that are all over the country, what they are now calling for. Davis revealed, of course, this at the PLP event last evening. He says it's a reality that has forced key players in the construction industry to recruit foreigners to get the job done. amid reported uptick in construction projects being undertaken. But Davis is issuing a strong warning to leaders in the sector, insisting that they are being monitored and any unlawful decision could place them in hot water.
At the moment, there are simply not enough skilled Bahamian workers right now to fill their construction jobs. And even the Bahamas Construction Association said the same thing. So yes, there has been an increase in legal immigration, in legal migration to meet that demand. But I want to put every construction company and developer on notice tonight. If you're bringing people into work, they better have a valid work permit. And they must have decent housing. This ain't no free for all. And to those leasing land and turning a blind eye to illegal shanty towns, we have some laws that deal with people in that business too.
Well, that's excellent to hear the Prime Minister talk about that, because these shantytown situations, we already know that the vexing issue illegal immigration is presented. Now, let's just stick with the topic at hand, though. The fact that there are many projects happening all over this nation, and skilled workers are needed. Skilled construction workers in various whatever those various titles are that make up a project. That contractors go out and get jobs done, whether it's mason and all the rest of those things that now make up the new look of the construction industry. And he says, listen, oftentimes they must bring in those skilled workers from other countries to help get these projects stay within the time frame and even maybe beat deadline, as well as deliver a stellar product. Your thoughts on this?
You know, Shanique, last night I listened to the Prime Minister speak. You know, people is be there for the party and atmosphere, but when it's time to hear from the leader of the country, it's good to just settle yourself and listen. One of the things he did say, that when skilled workers are brought in, foreigners, that he would hope Bahamians would understudy them and learn the trade. And that is what is important. People will be fussing about, oh, they're bringing in foreigners, but the key word there is skilled workers. They specialize in specialty and different services. And if you're wise, just go, take the time and learn. And yeah, and that'll be a smooth transition that, okay, this one area, Bahamians, we got this. Bahamian men, Bahamian women, we got this here, we can perform. But until that is done, the need is there and supply and demand.
Shanique, I kind of always cringe when the discussion about illegal immigration is being had, and we kind of shift over to talk about what we need as it relates to workers in construction. I think they're two different things completely, okay? So what you're saying to people, however you get you, just come and we'll use you when you come. I think that conversation not to be had with illegal immigration. I think what the Prime Minister has spoken to as it relates to our workers, I think we should have programs. If there are workers that we need, are we going to go to Haiti to get them? Are we going to go to Cuba to get them? Are we going to go to the Philippines to get them? That should be something that we do systematically, not because we need construction workers, so we're going to need these guys who come illegally. So we have a shortage.
He didn't talk about
what did you say? No, he's talking about people who are coming here legally
exactly
to fill because they have got to be able to hold up the need in the construction industry. And
absolutely,
it's now a burgeoning industry.
Because
and
a lot of Bahamians
that is not like it used to be 20
have
years
moved
ago.
away from it. And really, a lot of Bahamians have
not even
moved
that they've
away
moved.
from it.
Let's be real. The work, Ellington, I can't get into this again because I really won't get here. They already told me, Shanique, you have less than 10 minutes. Let's be real. Let's be real. The work ethic of these people showing up on these construction jobs are less than desired. You have heard many people talk about it. We've discussed it on the show.
Absolutely.
There are so many things that contractors are saddled with. Therefore, they can no longer tolerate, and they've gone and been given permission to seek the help, the skills that they need outside these borders in order to meet the demands of these projects that they have taken on. And that is what's going on.
We also spoke on one of your shows about the Philippines, how they're organized and they go through requesting through their government and agencies to connect the dots to the needs and demands
Of
in
a-
this
of a
country,
nation, yeah.
and their country monitor them.
I'm just saying
and-
that's a separate discussion.
No, and that's why I said I will
From
not get into the
illegal
illegal
immigration.
immigration.
Yeah, right.
No, this is where this is where skilled labor is required.
And there's
every
no question
every
there.
nation is open to it.
There's
skilled
no question
laborers.
there. We do need skilled laborers
We
in certain
absolutely do.
areas.
We absolutely do. Because many of us just sit down and feel as though we will
Entitled.
fit
Yes, we
in,
think.
like we used to do 20 years ago and make do and pretend. Meanwhile, Michael is shaping up to be quite a hot race to watch. Two other aspirants are hoping to secure the PLP's nomination, and they've been made themselves sort of public now. And those persons are Angela Michelle Cox Lockhart and Laverne Bertram Ingram. And I think there are a few more, but listen, who knew that the Michael race, and just one, we don't even know yet who the Free National Movement's aspirants are, or candidate will be, or the COI's candidate will be. And so the thing is, this is just this race within this party, and what's shaping up to be quite an interesting one to watch.
I think it's a bad decision when an aspiring candidate keeps it a secret. And Michael has been kept a secret who was interested from the FNM. I used to ask, what about Michael? I would post on my page just the name Michael every other week. Michael. One thing I would say, because I spoke with a young man and he talked about the challenges the candidates and the member of parliament have with Michael and the Spirit of Highlands included in this constituency. And when you look at it, there's two things I think aspiring candidate or the MP must have: money, resources, because you're going to have to manage to be successful, unlike the previous representative, both current and the minister, in the minister administration. You have to have that money. You have to be able to manage your constituency, knowing what you're getting into.
But you need to have a vision.
And be able to manage the vision, because you have several islands. You have to be able to have staff in place to get the job done. And then the other thing you have to do, you have to have influence with proper financial backing to accomplish anything. I spoke with people from Michael, Crooked Island, or Auckland, sorry, in particular. And there are needs that have been neglected for years. And if you're serious about representing them, then you show up and start meeting those needs. That's the challenge I draw out there.
Shanique, I'm all excited about what's happening in Michael right now. Michael is taking the lead and has the buzz in this election cycle that is now heating up. Michael is taking the lead in many aspects of it, and I think you're going to see a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. You're already beginning to see a lot of that coming from the voters in this constituency. They're active and they're already speaking as to what it is that they want, and so this is going to be a very interesting race with all those other persons vying for this constituency. And this is, like Peggy alluded to, this is just the Progressive Liberal Party. We have yet to see whether the FNM was going to have 2 or 3 persons, or the COI is going to have their 2 or 3 persons trying to get the nomination for this. But I'm excited for what is happening, and I think something new, there's a new shift taking place in Michael, and I'm looking for the best to happen with these candidates that's putting themselves forward.
Be hard to get. Don't be easy. Make your demands
High.
now.
High.
Whilst the great,
High.
everybody interested in you.
The stakes are high.
Yes, write your list as your community. Have your minimum require of those who want to represent you. Don't be easy. Don't be a sure thing for anybody. Let
This
them
is our
pursue you.
time.
Yes.
Of course, we discussed someone who appears to be a front runner last evening on last evening's show. And of course, this evening we introduce you to 2 other aspirants hoping to secure the PLP's nod for in the Michael constituency. We will continue to follow the interesting races as they shape up.
Yes.
We already identified quite a number of them, and we will continue to revisit and see how they are playing out. Of course, absolutely. So we are happy to be the place that you settle down at 8 o'clock in the evenings to get your election fix
Yes.
as we all head to 2026. So thank you all very, very much for tuning in. I think, of course, at the top of tonight's show, listen, guys, let's continue to pray really for those men that were injured in Exuma in that hit and run accident. We all heard one is in surgery, a few of them really bad. They have been battered really. So let's continue to offer our prayers there. Of course, in the middle of tonight's show, we had Pastors Patrice and Carol, and then, of course, here we have Peggy and Ellington. So thank you all so much. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Certainly enjoyed having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.